Overwatch Apex Season 3, energized by Hot 6, Round Robin. Today's matchup, Lunatic-Hai, Rogue.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Overwatch Season 3. I am Atlas, and I'm joined for the first time on an Overwatch desk with Papa Smithy. Welcome back. You've been away for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been studying myself in Brazil, but back into Seoul. And while it was hot in Brazil, it's damn hot here in the studio for this match. Because finally, the match we all circled in our calendars when groups were announced, the International Dream match between Rogue and Lunatic-Hai will happen. And man, tensions are high because honestly, as fast as this tournament has started for Rogue, it could end today because they are the team we're looking at to actually make an impression. They honestly need to win 3-0, 3-1. Those are the scores that read well for Rogue fans because any other score and suddenly the fate is either completely out of their hands or they are eliminated.
Yeah, and it's right at the very beginning of the tournament as well. I mean, it's very, very difficult given the fact that the group includes Kongdu Panthera, who have been playing phenomenally well as well. Put them up against the former champions of Season 2. It's just extraordinarily difficult now for Rogue. But they still have an opportunity here. 3-1. It's not exactly impossible. However, it just feels so hard against Lunatic-Hai.
I mean, it feels like there are so many different ways this series can go based on what we've seen from the teams, based on what the meta is and where the meta's at, because honestly, we've just been spoiled. You know, we had a whole Apex Season 2 where largely triple tank right till the end when the dive comps came through. And, okay, we were happy about the meta in the final. Two best Genjis in the world, dive comps on both sides. Now we kind of get so many different iterations of the meta. The triple DPS that Rogue showed the world, honestly, in their massive winning streak has been a core strategy here. But we've seen actually a lot of evolutions after that. We saw the Widowmaker, Mercy, and Zenyatta comps come through, triple support on defense. We see double hit scan and Zenyatta to shut down Genjis. It feels like now Genji is being deprioritized. So there's no fixed meta, and that's kind of the excitement is we're not seeing inevitabilities about triple tank opening into triple tank. We're seeing lots of different things, but let's come back to the triple DPS. 70% of the game time for Rogue in those online matches on triple DPS at a time when no one in Korea was playing it. This is a crazy stat, so you're going to have to stick with it here. But the Rogue this season has only played 35% game time on triple DPS. When you look on the other side to Lunatic-Hai, crazily, they have played 49%. So the strategy that Rogue was known for, that Rogue innovated, is actually not one they've actually been able to put onto the in the matches because they've been struggling on it, honestly.
Yeah, they most certainly have. And we are going to have a look at what that has done for their scoreline as well. As you can see, only 0 at this stage. Looks very similar to Kongdu Panthera, but Kongdu Panthera need to still go up against Mighty AOD, which feels like a match that they should pretty comfortably take.
And of course, we will explain in greater detail. We have some information here about all the different permutations of today's map, so don't fret if you're doing the math and trying to work out the checks and balances. I'm sure some people around the world are doing their tax returns, looking at this and being like, is this all tax return again? What's going on?
I just have to do my tax returns all day.
Well, we will do your Rogue tax return in just a moment. Other notable things, Africa Blue already qualified from Group B. We'll see Group B action later on today.
Find out who that second team might be. Of course, the winner of X6 versus Runaway could possibly take that one, which is going to be our second match.
A lot of hype here, Atlas.
Oh, yes.
As you say, it feels like the start of a season, but of course, things get spicy so quickly. Once you've played 2 matches, you're already potentially playing for your tournament life. That's the story here for Rogue. Lunatic-Hai in a very good spot to qualify from Group A, but even that may not be confirmed by the end of today. And then the second match is literally the winner of X6 and Runaway goes through to join Africa Blue from Group B into the next round.
Yeah, if it's 3-2s tonight, then it's likely that Lunatic-Hai will make it through, but we are going to have that up on your screen. But Runaway X6 is also going to be exciting, so make sure you stick around after what is going to be an extraordinary match to start off today. Because Runaway versus X6 is important. I mean, the new players, X6 hyped up quite a lot, and Runaway, the runners-up for Season 2.
Well, let's focus on the first match. This is the one everyone came to see. It's the International Dream match. These teams have played 3 times before, twice in the round robin of the APAC Premier and the Grand Final. On the Grand Final, Rogue stunned Lunatic-Hai, won that match 4-1 in a best-of-7.
Yeah.
But amazingly, overall, they are 5-5, so not much separates the teams. Speaking of those teams, so here is where it gets interesting. If Lunatic-Hai win, they are through. That much is confirmed. If Rogue win 3-0 or 3-1, they are through. 100% confirmed. So the red outcomes here are the ones where a team is confirmed to go through. The other outcomes is where things are up in the air. Lunatic-Hai cannot be eliminated today. If Rogue lose 3-0 or 3-1, they are eliminated. If it's a 3-2 score either way, honestly, Kongdu Panthera really only needs to get over the line over Mighty AOD in a match they are heavily favored to win. So that is not a scenario where, as a Rogue fan, you feel confident. But basically, win 2 maps if you're Rogue, you have a chance. Win 3 maps and do it in decisive fashion, and you're through.
Yeah, and Rogue, if you're looking at this thinking that if it's a 3-2 in favor of Lunatic-Hai, that Rogue is still safe, they are most certainly not. If Kongdu Panthera lose 3-2, they still qualify over Rogue in that scenario. So
just to explain, of course, match score is the first tiebreaker, then it's game score. So the fact that it was a 3-1 between Rogue and Kongdu Panthera to Kongdu Panthera really counts against the game score of Rogue. So there is, again, a lot to talk about here, but basically 3-0, 3-1 if you're a Rogue fan is what you need today to actually take the future into your own hands. But it's a tough ask, honestly. Lunatic-Hai have not been at their peerless best this season. They do not look like the team that won the finals last season, but they have been very strong. But like we were mentioning just before, in different ways. The triple DPS has been a surprise from them.
Yeah.
Just to confirm, we will see Zunba back in the lineup today. They will not be running Giddo in this particular match. Zunba hasn't been running the Zarya that I guess he could bring back today. He's most famous on the Zarya, but he's largely been on the D.Va.
It's got to be about that D.Va, right? She is so important at the moment. And we saw it was against Kongdu Panthera where D.Va felt like it completely shut down what Rogue were trying to do. Yeah,
we heavily expect, again, we'll talk about it more when we get in the match, we heavily expect Zunba on the D.Va trying to shut down AKM because Veil's job there was super good.
Yeah.
And that Void's job there was super good there. We're going to get words from the players really soon. There's so much to unpack on it. There's so many what-ifs about this particular matchup, and the tensions are high. So the fact that they have that historical 5-5, the fact that Lunatic-Hai have taken over the reins of triple DPS, at least in the context of this tournament, and kind of unpacking who the better Winston will be between Nox and Miro. That's a super hype matchup.
Yeah.
Best Winston in the West versus best Winston in the East. Stuff like that is awesome.
And talking about both of those two as well, I mean, is a Reinhardt going to come out? Both of these players sort of notorious for not necessarily having the handle on the Reinhardt as much because Winston is so important in this meta.
I feel we're already overloading.
Oh, I know. Again, it's just so exciting. There's so many things to talk about.
Yeah, the what-ifs are definitely real. The Winston is certainly going to be the expected pick.
Oh, yeah.
We know that Mira can go Reinhardt, but just like Kaiser was Reinhardt with a bit of Winston, definitely Miro has always been Winston with a little bit of Reinhardt. And Nox, you know, we know he plays Reinhardt, especially in, competitive mode, but when it comes to professional play, has been basically Reinhardt only. As you'd expect with Lunatic-Hai playing, the crowd here is going to be pretty one-eyed. There are definitely some Rogue fans, but the Lunatic-Hai fan group are here in numbers, wanting to coronate their team.
Force, Papa Smith. I don't think you're even really stating it hard enough because this place is chock-a-block.
Yeah, we're seeing some on your screens. Toby, always the fan favorite, but favorites are plenty on the side of Lunatic-Hai. Anna, Lucio, and Senna. Someone wants to see triple support today, Atlas, which we might see.
Hopefully we see some Hollywood because it has been pretty successful on that particular map.
Will we see King's Row, Lunatic-Hai's famous undefeated map? Teams get a bit frisky on that one. I mean, Lunatic-Hai have not picked up a single win on Control so far this season, so given that they will get the first choice of Hybrid, they
not
probably...
even a point victory, Papa Smithy.
But think about it. Let's follow the logic. If they lose Control, which, again, they have done this season, haven't won a single point, they're probably going to pick King's Row for an escort. And that means we will see them on their undefeated map. And Rogue have already mentioned that that's their least favorite of the hybrid maps just because historically, again, they've struggled on it.
Yeah.
The what-ifs here, what-ifs are so real. Oh.
It's ridiculous. But we are going to hear from the players very shortly as well, and they can tell us exactly their thoughts on this particular matchup because it is going to be super hype, and I'm looking forward to hearing what they have to say.
좋은 전략이 나왔습니다만 픽이 너무 단조롭고 다채롭진 않았다. 조금 더 풀어야 할 로그의 숙제가 아닌가라는 생각이 합니다.
It was a very tough game. We had to play kind of defensive against Kondo just because they played a Widow and Mercy, and then it's very hard to be aggressive on it.
저번 경기 정말 좀 힘들게 했던 것 같아요. 막 라인하고 그냥 6명이 필더한테만 다 오는 거 그때부터 좀 더 신경을 썼어요.
루나틱하이 3대1로 승리를 거두네요. 그리고 기도 선수가 새로 합류해서 첫 경기 했는데
아주 성공적인 데뷔전이고요. 앞으로의 그런 기대감도 증폭이 되네요.
기도도 대회 스타일인 것 같아요. 크렘 할 땐 그렇게 못했어요. 네. 저희가 로그한테 솔직히 1점만 따도 올라가는 거라 근데 이제 혹시나 져버린다면 또 막 엉키고 엉킬 테니까 저번 시즌 우승한 뒤로 방향을 좀 못 잡는다 그래야 되나? 좀 뒤숭숭하거든요. 조금 불안해요, 조금.
Once again, I think against Lunatic-Hai we will have the upper hand. I think one of their biggest weakness is probably SK. Very inconsistent player, and if he doesn't show up in our game, I think just soon he's gonna fall over them.
3D를 하더라도 지금 로그보다 잘할 수 있을 것 같거든요. 겐지 차이로. 일단 저희 팀에는 세계 최고라고 불릴 만한 후엘 선수가 있는데 그중에 이제 겐지 잘 다루는 선수가 없더라고요.
I don't think Nico is actually behind Who Are You or anyone else. I think he's one of the best Genji in the world. I think we have to go for a 3-0 if we actually want to go through. We are capable of. Watch out for the champions to crumble under our feet.
아니. 저희가 더 강력해서 무조건 3대0 화끈하게 경기하겠습니다. 파이팅!
Well, both teams extraordinarily confident, but neither of them, they can't both go 3-0, Papa Smithy. And the thing that I found really, really interesting about that sort of conversation there was the Genji point. I mean, are we going to see that much Genji? Is Nico going to be able to prove himself as one of the best Genjis in the world?
Again, that's kind of a question mark. You know, normally you'd say, well, of course, that was very much his hero selection when they were running the triple DPS, but they've been playing, as we said, 64% on standard dive comps. Nico has largely been on the Diva, but we'll talk about that more when we're on the side of Rogue. Lunatic-Hai, as we mentioned, will not be running Guido, at least to open. He is on the substitute bench. He is ready to be subbed in later. They are bringing back Zunba, and Zunba this season has largely been on Diva. If we learned anything from Kongdu Panthera versus Rogue, you might think, what was the difference between those teams? Was it Bird Ring's Widowmaker? Was it Rascal popping off on Pharah? To some degree, yes, but I think the biggest separator was specifically Void's play on the Diva.
Oh, yes.
His shutdown job on AKM, a bit of a tagging job, just stopping AKM from getting a lot of value on Attack Visor and largely on the Soldier, was the difference between those two teams, and Zunba has been their go-to Diva play. When Guido played, kind of everyone was flexing to Diva as necessary, but Zunba is, even though he's a flex, even though he's played Soldier, is a primary tank player. It's no longer the Zarya this season. It's very much been the Diva. So I really look forward to tracking what I expect to be a really fun battle between Zunba and AKM as we flow on.
Yeah, it also means that Lunatic-Hai will be playing a heck of a lot more of them, those 2-2-2 compositions. You mentioned the high percentage of triple DPS, but that was largely due to Guido being in the team composition. I
mean, when Guido's in the team, he plays Tracer, Eska jumps on the Soldier. When Zunba's in the team, his flex DPS is Soldier. He is a great Soldier. We've seen him do it on King's Row a couple of times already. If you watch his stream, plays a lot of McCree and Soldier, but jumping over to the side of Rogue, like you say, the Nico is the interesting question mark. When we've seen him play Genji, he has not been one of the best Genjis in the tournament. His Diva play has been fine. This is very much his first tournament. The land jitters need to be gone. It's a big match for Nico. If he can do what we kind of expect Zunba to do, if he can do a shutdown job on the Diva, or basically negate all the defense and pop off on the Genji, I think that's what Rogue needs, because Rogue have been good this tournament. I think people have a misconception that Rogue have been desperately poor. They've had tough opposition, they've played largely very well, but they're in a group of death, and they need to show a new level of performance that we haven't seen from them before. If they just lock in Tracer, Genji, and very much their standard triple DPS and Soldier from AKM, which did so well in that big run online, that so far has not been enough to get them the match wins, and that's what they desperately need today.
Yeah, you have to remember that both of these teams went 3-1 against AOD, and it was a 1-3 loss against Kongdu Panthera for Rogue. However, Lunatic-Hai was a, reverse sweep. It could have very definitely gone the other way.
So what I want to talk about is Rogue's inflexibility. That's been the one question mark I have for them. You'll notice that largely they have picks that they stick with. Soon, for example, 100% of game time on Tracer. If you think back to the Rogue versus Kongdu Panthera match, an interesting stat I have is that obviously when you open up, 6 heroes are locked in. Every player locks in a hero. From there, they only played 11 heroes. There was actually only 5 hero swaps from Rogue against Kongdu Panthera across the whole 4 maps. If you look on the side of Kongdu Panthera, they played 24, so that's a massive increase. 18 swaps compared to 5 from the starting heroes they locked in, and that led to a lot of the question marks where people are like, where is the flexibility from Rogue? How many times did we see on Numbani, for example, the switch over to Reinhardt to close the map, whereas Nox has been very much staying onto the Winston. I think they're going to need flexibility because if you think back, another stubborn team was Lunatic-Hai, but if you played Lunatic-Hai at Lunatic-Hai's game, you very often defeated. If they feel like they've scouted out Rogue, if Rogue play their standard stuff, I feel like it'll basically be the same team, mirror team comps running at each other, and you have to give advantage to Lunatic-Hai. That's why I look to Rogue to show us the new stuff, because honestly, I think they're capable of it, but they need to show it in this match. Because if they just go standard, you can't see a 3-0 or 3-1 victory come through.
Yeah, a lot of those question marks are on the flexibility that they've been able to build over the last, weeks that they've had to train,
Because
and
they
Rogue now have that opportunity.
They haven't needed to online. That's one of the big things is they were running over their opposition.
They were destroying all of their tournaments.
Now they come to Korea, and honestly, Korea has gone from the triple DPS, and like we said, there's been the new metas, the new adaptations, like, for example, the triple support, like double hit scan and Zenyatta to shut down Genji. Korea has sat back and watched between Season 2 and Season 3 of Apex, brought in triple DPS, and maybe not found out triple DPS, but certainly come up with at minimum soft counters. So now it's on Rogue to once again be the innovator, once again be one step ahead, because if they're at the same step as Lunatic-Hai, our Season 2 reigning champions, sadly, Atlas, I think the season ends here.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult. You saw the supports on your screen, Ryujahong. One of these players that was targeted in their last series actually quite effectively, was flanked out quite a lot, didn't necessarily have that extra tank to play any of that peeling role. So excited to see what he can do now with Zumba back on the roster. But let's see what our first control point map is going to be, and it's going to be Nepal.
But jumping on Nepal, Lunatic-Hai, amusingly, have not won a single point on control. So we'll see if Rogue can come in strong. Rogue, ironically, one-on-one on every map type, so they don't have necessarily a favored one. As you say, it was the Zenyatta where he was getting caught out at the start of fights multiple times, specifically on control, where they went down 2-0 to Mighty AOD. That's the sort of thing Rogue can look to target, because it seems like mostly Lunatic-Hai have been on the dive side, and that's left the Zenyatta quite exposed in the back line for Lunatic-Hai. It's not quite the Ana play where he can stay so far out of the fight that we've come to know and expect, because self-peel for Ana and self-peel for Zenyatta, very different things.
Certainly is, and of course the squishy factor is a very, very big deal, but those Discord orbs are so incredibly important. Oh my goodness, this is so exciting. Seeing whether Rogue are going to be able to take it on this control point is going to be such a big deal.
Dream match time, Atlas.
That's exactly right. Let's do it. Our first control point map's going to be Nepal. Let's get right into it.
I get it.
And here we are, we've got it. Oh,
Lunatic-Hai certainly have it.
Oh,
Rogue?
yeah.
Where's the Rogue fan leader?
Oh. Maybe that cheer went off
No,
when we were getting it.
The cheer's actually happening in Twitch chat. That's why we missed it. Sadly, we don't have Twitch chat open during the match, so we don't get to hear the hype levels there. But I'm sure the global fans are cheering for Rogue in their own minds.
And this is the exciting point, Papa Smithy, when we can see these compositions be locked in.
Hey. We got to wait 15 seconds for the exciting point. This is the part where Mickey's locking in
But this is where we get to ask all of the questions, Papa Smithy. When Mickey's locking in Eraser, of course.
Mickey in this map. Focus onto Rogue. Rogue have the big jobs. They need to be the team to beat Lunatic-Hai, to realistically have a chance to force their way through. So looking over the comps, pretty standard on the side of Lunatic-Hai. It is the Diva from Zumba that we spoke about. No siding of the Soldier or the Zarya. initial trades coming through. Whereas on the Rogue side, again, no surprises just yet, but Nico on the Diva.
Yeah, already demeched as well on the side of Zumba, so good sign for Rogue to try and solidify things early on.
All the opening salvos here before we see a pick. First pick is actually from Wins. Lucio taking down the Genji.
Yeah, wow, this is a big deal. Possible first cap. And of course, I mean, we're talking about this. There's still plenty of time for Lunatic-Hai to come back and take control.
Right, exactly.
However, first impressions are important in a series like this.
But it's so hard to get the first cap on this particular point because you have to continue fighting on Village before you drop down. Lunatic-Hai twice have tried to drop down. This time Rogue, with 2 picks onto Zunba and Toby, have done enough, but still the point's not captured.
Yeah, should be able to take control here as Who is able to get 1 pick, but it's not enough. And Miro being down is a huge deal. Some of the only tank left available and can't really dive onto that point just yet. And AKM feeling pretty comfortable to try and get to this high ground as well.
You mentioned the hype of the different matchups. Miro and Nox, best Winston in the East versus best Winston in the West. For now, actually, Nox does have a significant advantage in propping up the Primal Rage. Look at this. Esker's actually snuck onto the point. He's capping it.
Yeah, and Rogue also, I mean, they use the sound barrier, but you're exactly right. It is going to be recapped, and Esker being very, very sneaky gets in there and delays a lot of this percentage. It'll be retaken, but that is good time bought as Transcendence does go down on the side of Rogue.
It's on the side of Lunatic-Hai. Actually, they're trying to hold on to the point. They don't want to give up the instant cap. Watching AKM for now shut down. No picks from AKM from the tack buy. This is so close.
Yeah, this is massive, but Lunatic-Hai are taking control. That is very close to the team wipe. It's only Soon left alive.
So the Transcendence looked like it was to buy time, but they got positioning. Didn't have to invest many further ultimates and never actually gave up the recap to Rogue. So Rogue getting the first cap. Backdoor by Esker, and even during that time, the 5 members of Lunatic-Hai stayed strong, didn't give over multiple picks. Esker managed to regroup with the team, and they won the further fight. So Lunatic-Hai now in full control.
AKM, though, is able to at least get the pick onto Ryujahong once again. Some of those question marks possibly still there from that previous series against AOD.
They still have 2 ults. They can buy time for him to get back on.
Pulse Bomb, not going to get the stick just yet as Nox takes down Who Are You one more time. AKM is going to be taken down, and the self-destruct gets a kill onto Wins. This could be important as Rogue are able to answer back. Soon actually popping off on the Tracer right here, gets a double kill.
A lot of cleanup from Soon, a lot of damage in the cleave coming through, allowed the picks to come through. So again, we see the switch over. Pretty big investment from Rogue. They still have the self-destruct to buy time. Transcendence coming up now. So suddenly, put very much the microscope onto Lunatic-Hai because they need to eco-push. They need to actually build up their ult economy because right now they're very dry.
Yeah, very close to the double support ultimates, which have been so important, especially in the current meta. However, not there just yet. And it's Rogue with a lot of control. AKM once again up on this high ground, trying to soften everyone up. Has that tack visor available if he wants it. Transcendence, yeah, he's going to go down from Rogue. And Ryujahong actually used his as well. So everyone just utilizing all the ultimates that they can. Sound barrier goes down. Toby still has his on the side of Lunatic-Hai. Who Are You doing the best cleanup, but he's just not able to get it done. And Rogue, that's the team wipe onto Lunatic-Hai. It looks like that control point issue is most certainly still there, at least slightly, Pubs.
I mean, the tank play from Nox and Nico really on point. Looking at Nico especially to see who would win the Diva battle of being able to shut down DPS. So far, advantage over to Rogue. Really nice play there. There's still going to be one final enclosure. AKM has the tack visor. Hasn't popped it yet.
Yeah, a bit of a surprise dive, and there goes the tack visor, but immediately answered. Esker grabs a double. As Soon goes down as well. Both DPS now dead as Lunatic-Hai are cleaning up. Miro's dead, but is it enough to get rid of a lot of this damage? Zanko's just trying to throw some balls around, but it's just not going to be enough. Lunatic-Hai have maintained a fair bit of control here. They get that retake at 99% on the side of Rogue.
So big mistake there from Rogue. They went too aggressive trying to get an entry pick to stop there actually being a true 6v6. And Lunatic-Hai took a different path, exposed them in many different ways. And even though they had ult disadvantages, get the cap again. So we've seen multiple swings, which is hype given what we're hoping is going to be a 5-map series. AKM still has the tack visor because he was killed so quick into popping it.
Well, that is certainly handy. Not going to use it just yet. There it is. Attack visor goes down.
Low value. Almost no value.
Not necessarily finding the targets that he wants. Miro takes a bit of damage, but he's just hanging out on the roof, as monkeys do like to do. Now going to be able to at least get onto the point, but once again, we're into overtime. There's a Dragon Blade from Who Are You, but he goes down extraordinarily low. Has to get out of the fight, but doesn't escape Soon's damage. As overtime still ticking down. We've got the cap coming up, and Rogue are looking to try and turn it into overtime their side of the point. Lunatic-Hai still have a lot to work with. Sound barrier goes down, but they can't actually get onto this point. So close to the retake on the side of Rogue, and can they actually get this one to tick over? They just need to push them out. There goes the mech on the side of Nico, and Baby Diva's going to fall down. Lunatic-Hai throw in the pulse bomb on the side of Rogue, but there it is.
Yeah, Rogue stepped off the point for a second. No sort of leniency to do that. And that was a really close point on Village. Already a couple of different things need to come on the mark, so specifically Rogue in a great spot, pushing too aggressively to get an entry pick and then being exposed. Very nice flanking maneuver coming through from Lunatic-Hai when they had an ult disadvantage. Rogue probably thought that was going to be their first point. Like you said, you're kind of already anointing it the curse of control for the side of Lunatic-Hai, but they pick up their first control map victory. And now the Rogue fans, it's still early. It's only the first map of a best of 3 on the side of Assault, and of course a best of 5 turns the map. We're going to see a replay. Looking for Lucio stepping off the point.
Yep.
That was enough for them to not have the timer, but again, it could all be about the micro decisions. I think that one wasn't going to be consequential. It seemed like the reinforcements wouldn't come in fast enough. But let's focus on this one here on Shrine.
Yeah, the action already breaking out here very, very early on. Both teams just wrestling for that first cap. Nico's going to be demeched already. Eska's able to take that one down. That may spell Lunatic-Hai getting some control on this point, but no one actually making any serious moves, just trying to get those picks, and AKM is going to answer with that kill onto Who Are You.
The fight's still going to continue, though. Positioning for now, advantage Rogue, but AKM's down.
Interestingly enough, we have gone to that triple DPS on the side of Lunatic-Hai. It's Zumba on that Soldier. They're making it work quite effectively. The percentage still ticking up for Rogue as they were able to get that first cap.
And that's sort of adaptation we should talk about, but maybe we'll have to talk about it in a second. There's already sound barrier.
Yeah, Rogue have thrown that one down. Nice stick onto the Diva mech, which is very, very important. Tac Visor goes down from Zumba there as well, who's just picking up kill after kill. Without that defense matrix, it's so hard. And there it is, Lunatic-Hai. Very close to the team wipe as Unko's making his way back.
And adaptation is a thing for Season 3 Apex Lunatic-Hai. Rogue sticking with the same comp meant that Zumba was able to dump damage into the Diva. Diva losing her mech at the start and thus not being able to shut down any of the triple DPS. Zumba had 81% on his Tac Visor about 30 seconds into the map. And that meant that he had plenty of space to use only one ult. And speaking of one ult,
Who Are You is going to throw down that Dragon Blade. Nice reflect, gets a fair bit of damage as he does kill AKM with those Helix rockets. Love that. Lunatic-Hai still able to get 4 kills off it despite Who Are You falling down, maintaining control in this point.
But they've only had to invest a couple of ults. Toby and Ryu Jae Hong both have their support ultimates. Nico, Walk of Shame, swapping and swapping back to get the mech back up. But only the Primal Rage and now the Tac Visor available for Rogue.
Yeah, still a lot available here for Lunatic-Hai, and those support ultimates are so incredibly important. Of course, without having that Dragon Blade there, I mean, Transcendent's not necessarily as pivotal.
Oh, Unko picked off in the backline. No one peeling for the Zenyatta.
Oh, and losing another one there as well as Nox does go down. It's only Nico there for that front line, and he's just going to peel away.
It's another reset, right? You know, honestly, it's just basically everyone from Rogue backing away, looking to reset. Zumba even snipes away AKM. Another stagger. There's one serious push left here for Rogue, and it's not like they've had successful eco pushes and are coming in with 6 ultimates. It's basically opening with the Transcendence and hoping to build up a sound barrier during the initial engage. So any more picks, a single pick onto Rogue could be devastating.
Yeah, you can see Who Are You and Eska just trying to get themselves into a good position to flank this one as well. Eska has been a bit of a question mark as he doesn't find the stick on the Pulse Bomb at all. And Transcendence actually going down on the point at the same time as Rogue are trying their very best to try and cap this one out if they can. Got a little bit there, but it's still ticking up for Lunatic-Hai. 97% now as well as AKM taking a lot of harassment from the side. Rogue do manage to grab a couple of cute kills, and that's another one. AKM, nice snipe on the jump, and finally Rogue get some meaningful picks and switch over the point.
Yeah, really interesting start. Unko opening up with the Transcendence. Lunatic-Hai backed away, tried to use Sound Barrier late to have an advantage in terms of health bars and thus the support ult advantage, but still, really nice opening picks from Rogue. Win them the fight. Lunatic-Hai were happy to give them space, because of course they don't need to overinvest. They still have a couple of pushes to come back, and on the next push, they should have both Tac Visor and also Who Are You's Dragon Blade.
as well as that Primal Rage, which is going to be coming up. The Pulse Bomb hanging out there for Eska as well, but there's the Sound Barrier coming in for Rogue. The D-Mac's going to come out. Nico's going to possibly fall down. Baby Diva does fall to Eska there. So no more Defense Matrix available up in here, and the Dragon Blade comes out, but it is going to be the pick as AKM still dealing with this. Tac Visor comes in. You can see the tracking's pretty good.
Beautiful, you might say.
Oh, absolutely. But he's just going to clean up. Nicely done. Oh, God.
We'll leave that one right there,
Yep.
Atlas.
Thank you very much, Bob Smithy.
But that was all super interesting. So basically, it was a mind game from both sides. Lunatic-Hai waiting out the Diva mech, then investing both ults, but they got low value, and Unko managed to take out Genji in the front line during Dragon Blade. So the peel wasn't there. Now it's basically one emergency push with Transcendence for Lunatic-Hai. They're letting the timer come down. They need exact positioning. Any picks, and they're done.
Well, it is going to be the Transcendence popped at exactly the right time here for Ryuja Hong. Is this going to mean that they can get the overextension? Possibly, but Miro's going down extraordinarily low, and Eska is going to be able to get the first pick. So Rogue struggling here a little bit, and soon's going to fall down. Lunatic-Hai should be able to bring this one back, as they're so close to capping this point, and we'll be going straight into overtime. There's the retake, and now it's overtime in favor of Lunatic-Hai, looking to grab their first control point of the tournament thus far, and that's going to be that. Lunatic-Hai coming out of the gate so strong on control.
Yeah, Zunba shaking it all around on the guns. Both teams tracking up to 99% on basically every map, but the winner is Lunatic-Hai. Lunatic-Hai, the only of the two teams to show flexibility. Zunba jumping off the Diva onto his favorite soldier. Those are the two big picks for him, and another map, no changes for Rogue. All 6 heroes remaining the same. We kind of said this was the question mark for Rogue, and they're sticking to what had got them that big advantage, but it feels like the ability for Lunatic-Hai now to mirror the Season 3 meta, jump on to triple DPS when they need to, compared to Rogue, who have played 100% of this map on the standard dive comp, is the separating factor between two great teams.
Yeah, and I want to mention Who Are You as well. We asked the question of, are we going to be seeing the Genji? Of course, Who Are You, almost undisputedly best Genji in the world. He's utterly phenomenal. And during the middle of that last Shrine point, that Dragon Blade managed to get so many staggered kills, really solidified the percentage for Lunatic-Hai.
I just love the high level of the plays we're seeing. We're seeing teams focus down the Diva before popping either of their DPS ultimates, but then teams being able to kite back, not actually give up any picks during Tac Visor and re-engage. That's how Rogue got the point back. In the end, really nice approach. The Transcendence, an emergency one in many ways, still enough to get the first pick onto the Lucio. And when the support is the first person to go down, there is always that inevitability of it potentially being a skirmish and thus map loss. So now we're looking at Rogue, whose dreams of a 3-0 win are over. Now 3-1, the best they can do.
Their Apex dream is not over yet, though, Papa Smithy. They need to get the 0-1 reverse sweep, I think is what you call it.
I mean, 3-2, they still have a chance, right? So
They do, but it is extraordinarily slim, ladies and gentlemen. That relies on Mighty AOD getting at least a 3-1 victory, but let's have a look at where we're going to next on Hybrid.
Selection is over to the side of Rogue. You'd imagine King's Row will be skipped over, given that is, of course, Lunatic-Hai's bread and butter. And now we will see Hollywood, and we get to wonder, will we see the return of the triple support on defense on the side of Lunatic-Hai?
I love this pickup as well, because it means you do need that flexibility.
But remember, triple DPS is weak to triple support. At least the theory goes from what we've seen. And, well, it's Rogue, so they have been pretty staunchly either triple DPS or Nico jumping onto the Diva. So very interesting to see. Do they expect the Diva? Do they expect the Genji to try to straddle the line? The opening on defense from Lunatic-Hai, that's going to be a fun one to look at.
And it feels like the gauntlet's being thrown, just because Hollywood is one of these maps that we've seen so many different compositions, so many different things be successful, and it's not necessarily if you just play the bread and butter, if you just play the 2-2-2 dive composition that we do always see, it isn't necessarily what comes out successful on this particular map.
So much to talk about, but needs to be map victory to Rogue. This is where they need to make their stand. A reverse sweep. It'll be an emotional one, but it might not be enough to see them through.
We've most certainly heard do or die over and over again for Rogue, but it is most certainly the case this time around on Hollywood. Let's get right into the action. Well, at least Rogue got a cheer this time around.
Maybe they were late to arrive to the studio, of course.
Aha.
The first cheer does always favor the fans to get here early, and coming up the escalator, I saw that, of course, the Lunatic-Hai fans have been camping out for what is probably days at this point.
Well, I was actually here at the studio early, Papa Smithy, and they were too. It was, I believe...
But were you here yesterday? Because I bet there was at least a couple of them, Atlas.
I didn't see many people packing up pop tents, but they could have got it done very early in the morning, Papa Smithy.
The Western fans are starting to get there. They're starting to understand how popular Lunatic-Hai is. Basically, take what you know and multiply it, because literally these guys are K-pop stars here. They are so popular.
Let me just say that Season 2 final was the loudest thing I had ever heard in my entire
We're still
life.
getting our hearing back from that day
Yes.
as we finally get to look at the comps here. Rogue will be on defense to start. Pretty standard stuff from them. If you look down this, Nico, once again, not going to be defense on Genji, so just going to be the 2-2-2. Zunba is not going to be playing the D, but it's going to actually be Jae-Hong opening up on Zarya. Now, this was, of course,
triple tank attack, Papa
one of
Smithy.
his favorite picks when he wasn't playing Ana on stream was the Zarya. So he has a lot of practice on Zarya, but when you have Zumba on the team and he's not playing Zarya, it's always a surprise.
Yeah, that's just giving him credit for his incredible Diva play, and Huayu's going to grab that first pick onto wins, which is very important. Already, Unko going to fall down as well, and that is both of the supports taken. This attack already very successful coming out of Lunatic-Hai. They're taking control at this point, almost about to get that first tick, and there it goes.
And well, you think about it, Atlas, and it makes so much sense. You know that Nico hasn't been showing the Genji. Zarya's always been strong against Diva. It's always been one of the best ways to microwave down the Diva. You're able to absorb any damage. All she can do is fire back at you or run away. And Jae-Hong is just basically lighting up Hollywood Boulevard with his picks. He's now onto a sniper. It's not Ana, though. It's going to be the Widowmaker.
And we know Ryu Jae-Hong's incredible Ana play means that it makes sense. You can get some picks here on the Widow. So far unsuccessful, but we'll see what he can do.
What is he doing still, though? He's not getting picks, but this is what Widowmaker does. Buys space and also forces the Winston to dive. If they take out Winston, that's the only frontliner down. Well, we do see sound barrier.
Is going to be the answer here as Lunatic-Hai throw out the Dragon Blade as well. Some picks going down for Lunatic-Hai, who have been able to pick up the more beneficial trades. Eska still trying to poke around. AKM going down so low, but no capitalization completely on that pickoff as Eska, oh, there it is, pops back inside and says, there we are. Finally picks it off, and that is going to be soon going down as well. Eska, we've doubted his Tracer play in the past, but not anymore as he is going to fall. Nope.
Jae-Hong taken out. As we saw Jae-Hong smiling, he's like, well, I just wanted to get some percentage time on Widowmaker. I want to get that stat I was talking about.
He's like, why aren't these shots healing my my teammates? What's going on?
Hey, where's my peel? My self-peel's not there. Where's my grenade?
Zumba, I thought you were here on the roster to try and peel for me, man. What's going on?
Well, I mean, Rogue are the ones that need to peel. They need to peel Lunatic-Hai away from the cart because the cart is still pushing in all this madness.
Well, it is going to be a double kill coming out for Eska here. Grabs on with the pulse bomb onto Unko. That is so important. Still just sneaking around. We've
No
got the
pressure
sound barrier
onto
coming
Jae-Hong
in.
at all.
Standing up there, and in fact...
Waiting out the attack visor.
Yeah, just chilling out. Zumba there hanging out with him. Ultimate comes down from Jae-Hong. Just trying to scope out the rest of the teammates, no pun intended. Oh, there it is. That was a body shot. Nox already going down fairly low. There's another one. Wins. He's going to get sniped.
And there's no pressure.
Has taken so much control.
There's just no pressure onto Jae-Hong whatsoever. Nox is kind of busy looking to tie up the other DPS members, and they're not seeing a switch. Finally, we're seeing Rogue make their first swap of the match. They have Nico onto the Genji. AKM taken out, just coming out of the door. Now Nico needs to shut down this Widowmaker.
He's just going to jump down. Does get taken out by Unko. Some well-placed orbs are going to work it out, but that kill's going to get answered so quickly, and Lunatic-Hai only lose the Widow and get 4.
Well, success for the Widowmaker. First swap for Rogue, not enough. Felt like Nico needed to swap earlier, but of course was surprised by the Widowmaker, and there's only so much time you can make those swaps. The Widowmaker is going to be a thing of the past, just jumping onto the Zenyatta that has been his go-to pick, and this is really good time for Lunatic-Hai as they're looking to full push Hollywood.
Yeah. Huayu is going to be able to get the dash through onto soon. AKM's going to fall down as well. Only Nico remaining as far as DPS, and Unko's going to fall. Just without that damage threat, this is looking so easy for Lunatic-Hai, who are just getting pick after pick after pick, and Rogue, they can't consolidate at all, even though they have 3 ultimates available.
I mean, consolidation requires a Reinhardt shield to actually get out of spawn because they're being spawn camped on both sides.
Soon as at least able to get something here as Nox is able to take down Toby. That's both supports dead. A big opportunity now for Rogue to answer back. Good reflect from Nico. Zaycam's going to Helix Rocket Zumba away from being alive.
Yeah, they finally managed to actually get out of spawn, find an angle soon. Getting the pick onto the Zenyatta was the big start there. But Lunatic-Hai, once they lost 2 members, what do? Didn't blow any ultimates, accepted their fates. Only Jae-Hong is short of there being 6 ultimates on the side of Lunatic-Hai. And we were watching the spawn camping that whole time. The payload was pushing as you'd expect, and one more team fight. And this will be the cap from Lunatic-Hai.
Well, there goes the Pulse Bomb. Gets the stick as well. Esker silencing the doubters right now as Who Are You gets a sound barrier. He's got the Dragon Blade. The answering Transcendence was there from Unko, but can they wait it out? They at least managed to negate that big knife from the Genji. Otherwise, it's not quite enough. Toby able to pick up a kill onto Unko, which is very, very important. Jae-Hong's going to be able to pick that one up onto Soon. So far, it's cleanup as Lunatic-Hai still looking in control. And that cut is going to once again get pushed forward. Nico gets himself onto the point, but gets pushed away. This is still just parking here.
0.69 meters.
Oh, God, so incredibly close. But Rogue have at least saved it for the moment from that push. Lunatic-Hai eventually just kill everyone. A sound barrier is there. Is it going to be enough? Jae-Hong says no as the Transcendence comes in just to make sure. And it's just more padding of these KDAs out of Lunatic-Hai. We're just picking up as many kills as they like.
This is a really good
spawn.
delay from Rogue, though, because of the wins having the last second sound barrier. They've actually bought 25 seconds so far. They will finally be the cap, but at least Rogue can feel good that they delayed for about 25 to 30 seconds more than you thought they'd be given credit for. But Lunatic-Hai, they showed a lot of flexibility, and Rogue, short of seeing Nico swap after point A onto the Genji, were playing their own game, and it feels like Lunatic-Hai read it so well. Jae-Hong, of all people, opening on the Zarya to microwave down the D.Va, allow Who Are You to have that flexibility to dive into the backlines. One of the reasons we see less Genji Atlas is because there's none of those shields available from the Zarya, because Ana is largely out of the meta as well, so Dragon Blade makes you so much more susceptible to just being taken down as a frail 200 HP frontliner. Well, guess what? Zarya changed things. Rogue wasn't ready for them, and we'll see how many more curveballs Lunatic-Hai have, because we're still waiting for the first curveball from Rogue.
Yeah, and actually, like, when you see defense on Hollywood, that is when there's opportunities for curveballs. And I mean, we're not going to talk about it just yet because, of course, teams troll us every single time on defense.
I mean, all these heroes could come out.
Yep, well, that's exactly right. But we're not going to talk about it because, I mean, I see the Tourbillon and my heart's immediately
So let's
pumping,
talk about what we have seen. When we had Guido in the lineup, it was triple support.
Yeah, and it looked
we
really
certainly
good.
see Who Are You doing some sick flexing here, because he's Genji, you know? He's a Genji D.Va player, and for now, at least, he's on the Ana. Toby's first time off the Lucio. In previous seasons, he has played the Tourbillon, but it would be his first Tourbillon of this season. And this is the flexibility that Lunatic-Hai are newly showing. This wasn't a core tendency of their play in the past. Let's see what they finally decide on, though, as we're coming through. All right, Toby back on the Lucio, so no seconds onto the Tourbillon. But Who Are You?
Yeah, it is looking like it might just be that triple support with Who Are You on the Ana.
So this is predicting triple DPS, and the theory here is that if you can out-heal a discorded Tracer Genji dive onto one of your members, then you can hold the point with support ultimates. So they're going for the same strategy, even though Guido isn't in the lineup.
See what Who Are You can do on this Ana as well. Some orbs are going to fly out. You can see Rogue, they identify exactly what's happening, and they're going to completely adjust. Yeah.
Great to see from Rogue. This is what you need to do. If you don't get that initial pick, you will get out-sustained. And now they're going for some more long-range hit scan as they're going to bring in McCree on Soon. So this is his first time off the Tracers.
Yeah.
Esko actually is picked off by Unko.
So already a good start here for Rogue, who are trying their very best to get off to a good one, because Lunatic-Hai capped that first point so incredibly quickly. Nico is able to pick up that kill onto Miro as well, so very good signs thus far. And look, this is what you get when you can adapt to what your opponent is doing. A question mark that we certainly had for Rogue. It's exactly what we wanted.
So far, the kill feed has been all Rogue side. Lunatic-Hai exposed by the adjustments. Great stuff to see. Is this going to be the final picks coming through from Rogue? This should be a pretty clean capture.
Yep, all too easy. Sleeping on the point there as well, as that's going to be it. Lunatic-Hai wiped out, and that first point going to be capped.
And now Rogue fans can smile, because we've been waiting for a swap like this since the start of the tournament, since it became clear that just sticking with what was working, the triple DPS, would not be enough to find success in Apex. Very nice to see Rogue back away, understand that dive was not going to work against triple support, and they came in with something new. So big respect to Rogue. Great to see this play from them. Again, you get lost in the disappointment of them not being the great hope of the West, but these are still a great team.
Well, here's the dive from Lunatic-Hai. Eska already right round the back, just harassing this backline. Gets that recall as well to keep himself safe. Lunatic-Hai throw out at least the Transcendence to try and get some control, and soon he's going to be picked off by Who Are You.
Reflected on the Deadeye, very nice.
And that's going to be the triple to answer. What was that, Nico?
Well, sometimes off screen, it turns out that you can get triple kills.
Yeah,
with
I really want to see a replay of where that ultimate was placed, because that must have been expertly done.
There's so much terrain and that you can actually bop a self-destruct over, and Nico just seemed to find them all wanting. We'll see if Lunatic-Hai can get positioning, because for now the cart is moving freely for Rogue.
Yep, Pulse Bomb gets a lot of damage onto Nico, who's going to get healed up, so it's going to be absolutely fine. Keeps his mech. AKM's going to take down Jaehong. Yeah. Possibly a staggered pickoff here, as we've got the sound barrier coming out. Lunatic-Hai desperately trying to stop this payload from moving. Who Are You as well, very close to that Dragon Blade, and Lunatic-Hai don't actually need it. They get the picks that they want. AKM and Wings both falling, and soon very close to falling down himself.
So what you should track there is they invested sound barrier to have a hope to turn a fight. They didn't have ults to capitalize of it. They didn't want a 5v6 to just reign supreme and allow Rogue to free push. They only used a single support ult. They farmed up Dragon Blade, and they stopped the cart from pushing. So good stuff there in terms of efficiency for Lunatic-Hai, but Rogue are coming up on plenty of ults themselves.
Yeah. Jaehong also doesn't feel like he necessarily needs to hold it. He doesn't have the Dragon Blade to answer for, anything like that. It's not like as soon as he hears that he needs to press his Q button.
Well, he'll have his soon. It was only Toby with the sound barrier the first time. Is okay, already a pick, this time from AKM.
Helix Rocket's going to take down Who Are You. Both barriers coming in here as well as Zumba very far back. Just trying to stay on this payload, stop it from moving forward, but he is getting pressured. Should get D-Mech, but good heals come out. Transcendence there now as well, as Jaehong gets it at exactly the right time. The answer comes down from Unko, who's able to keep his team alive as well, and Eska's going to fall soon. Wins the Tracer battle, and Primal Rage flies out from both of the monkeys. Who's going to be able to take it, though? It's the Monkey of the West versus the Monkey of the East. They're both just bouncing around this fight, but not able to find too much more. No one's really stabilizing on this payload here just before the first point.
Seeing AKM come back to the fight, use the ult right at the end. Basically, Rogue investing everything. They cannot allow the cart to be stalled any longer. 6v5 for a moment, as Miro still hasn't come back to the fight.
Nico did manage to take down Miro with that self-destruct, though, so that is very good news.
Who Are You, without even investing the Dragon Blade, continues to get picks, and now the timer is working against Rogue. Single ult efficiency for Lunatic-Hai has halted the cart from pushing multiple times, whereas it felt like Rogue needed multiple ults to ever get a stall of their own. And now suddenly, a minute 50 remaining. You got 2 good pushes at the most for Rogue, and they got nothing. No ult efficiency, no time for an eco push. It's going to have to be some clutch AKM headshots you have to feel.
Oh, yeah. Well, Jaehong is going to be able to take down soon, so AKM, the only DPS remaining here, as Nox is able to take down Miro. This is a good sign for Rogue.
Going 1-for-1 when you have nothing in the bank is pretty good.
Yep. Good news. Thank you, well, I was pretty confident with that one.
Well, you see Rogue being very respectful. They're hanging back. They're trying to get ult. The reason why Lunatic-Hai is denying silence, they don't want them to get any charge.
Well, Transcendence is going to come in. There's a Dragon Blade as well from Who Are You. Hasn't been able to pick up anyone just yet. Good recall. Gets soon completely out of there, and that Dragon Blade was basically wasted.
Yeah,
on the side of
exactly.
Lunatic-Hai.
Completely wasted ult, and let's see if Rogue can turn it. They feel like this is the time.
Well, there's the attack visor out from AKM. Has a sound barrier there to keep himself alive. Who Are You is going to be taken down as well as Toby. They're capitalizing on this one nicely. Good Helix Rockets gets a lot of damage in there, and Unko follows up beautifully. The triple kill for AKM in the end, and that's 5 for basically nothing on the side of Rogue, and they make it to the second point.
Yeah, really clean stuff from Rogue, holding on to attack visor. They knew that defense matrix, actually there was just none left. All the juice had been wasted on the side of Lunatic-Hai, and that meant full value from the attack visor. Now they're doing what Lunatic-Hai was doing to them previous time. They pushed way up. Finally, they send someone back to push up the payload. They got a bit too excited there.
They were fantastic stagger kills, though. Rogue are going to get a lot of meterage out of this next push.
But there's breathing points now. You see Soon has pulled back. AKM has pulled back. There still will be a formation, and remember, the cart was actually already around this corner before Rogue even got out of the base to compete.
Yeah. And it's only 1:30 remaining as well. And look at that time bank on the side of Lunatic-Hai, who still had 2 minutes and 15 left. Lunatic-Hai throw down the sound barrier to try and answer this aggression out of Rogue. And they can do this. They can invest as much as they want. Lunatic-Hai still being able to pick up kills here at the same time as Miro jumps back towards some safety. Here's the Winston battle as they're both just zapping one another. But it's Zumba that capitalizes. Soon cannot get those flanks that he's looking for.
And it's the defender's advantage. When you're defending, popping at ult and buying time, even if you go down, can largely be worth it when you have a time bank to defend. Whereas Rogue are thinking, we can't trade ult for ult. We need to use our ults in unison, in combination, to actually finish the map. So far, the delay tactics have worked, although Eska dies.
Yeah, Unco is able to pick up that kill soon. Throws down the pulse bomb, but doesn't get any kills for it. Rogue have invested at least the Transcendence into this fight to get this payload pushing forward. Self-destruct doesn't find any kills, but at least get some zoning done.
3 already down on the side of Rogue, though.
Yeah, that is going to be the answer, as AKM's just going to get buzz-zapped by that Tesla gun.
Now it's going to be an overtime push, if anything, for Rogue. And you look at Lunatic-Hai, sound barrier might alone be something to answer, but they have double DPS ults on top of it as well. Rogue have been looking for their moment, but their moment this whole tournament and also on this Hollywood final push has not come, and it's going to take some magic that we haven't seen from Rogue to close this map.
Well, Eska looking for the stick, doesn't get it with the pulse bomb off to the side, and Huayu's going to grab that first kill onto AKM. This is looking like it could be sealing the fate of Rogue.
Triple.
The triple kill comes in for Huayu, and Zumba's going to take down Nico as well. Rogue only have 2 members remaining, and one of them is desperately trying to run towards the point but won't make it, and this feels like the end of Rogue, Papa Smithy.
It's like the end of Rogue, but right now, it is not the end of Rogue.
Not completely.
Your baguettes are certainly not raised. They're at half-mast, because basically the way it goes from here is that desperately Rogue needs to win at least 2 maps. If they do not win a single map, if they go down 3-0, they are out. If they go down 3-1, they are out. If they go down 3-2, the mathematical hope basically is Mighty AOD 3-0 or bust. So, again, right now, control is not in their own hands, but they are not eliminated from the tournament just yet, are Rogue. So, Rogue fans, we're going to have a couple of minutes break, but it's going to have to be a reverse sweep and then also favorable results to make it out of Group A.
And the difficult thing is they have to get the reverse sweep started on 2-point capture. We saw them be able to pick that one up last time, but not on their first map. It wasn't what looked great for Rogue against Mighty AOD in their first showing.
And cool to see Lunatic-Hai mix up strategies.
Yes.
Ryu Jae Hong just having a day out, for sure.
He most certainly is, but ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a short break. When we get back, we'll see where the Rogue can hold on for at least one more game.
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성 사이다.
노력은 선수를 만들고 코어 i7 프로세서는 멈추지 않는 파워를 드립니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Season 3. I'm Atlas, this is Papa Smithy, and we are 2-0 up for Lunatic-Hai against Rogue. Unfortunately, it means that Rogue aren't going to be qualifying today. There is still a slim hope if they can reverse sweep. However, it's looking very, very dangerous.
Yeah, to recap, if you're joining late, because they've already dropped 2 maps, there is no way for them to guarantee their spot in the next round today. Now, of course, if they can win at least 2 maps, there's still a mathematical chance if Mighty AOD can take out Kongdu Panthera in very one-sided fashion, which already, given what we've seen from Kongdu Panthera, is unlikely. But, you know, a chance is better than no chance. And unfortunately, if Lunatic-Hai win the next 2, any of the next 2 maps, whether it is Assault or the Escort map, then unfortunately Rogue will be eliminated at the first time of asking. So this is very much Rogue need to use their time. Probably not going to call a tactical pause, but because they actually had a break, but they need to choose the right 2-point capture map, otherwise their tournament ends here.
And it would be so iconic if they chose Temple of Anubis at this stage, the map that was their Achilles heel versus Mighty AOD in their first series of Apex Season 3. Highly doubt that that will happen though, but we'll find out very, very shortly what their decision is.
Word from the camp was that they spent a lot of time putting into 2-point capture after their struggles first time out on Temple of Anubis.
It's going to be Hanamura. That is our first option for Rogue. Okay, well, we'll see what they can get done. Flexibility still necessary on a map like this, though, Papa Smithy.
This is your time to leave everything out there in the match.
Heck yeah.
There is no other opportunities. Rogue must win every map and have things go their way. And let's see how they open up on Hanamura, because a big confident push from Lunatic-Hai and maybe the job's already done. Or if Rogue can open up and do the job themselves.
Yeah, and we know, Lunatic-Hai, the team that is so incredibly good at reverse sweeps, if they get reverse swept here, I mean, think of the poetry, Papa Smithy.
I'm ready for some poetry in motion. Is it going to be the storyline? Is it going to be this map? Is it going to be Rogue? These are things I don't have the answer to, Atlas.
Well, we don't have the answer just yet, but it's moving so incredibly close to a Lunatic-Hai victory. We'll see whether the champions are going to be able to silence Rogue in our third match, and match point for Lunatic-Hai on Hanamura.
I get it.
The Rogue fans again silent. Again silent, sadly.
Yep. It's not happening this time.
Oh,
But we at least got one cheer.
We did.
That is good. Just, it's really difficult to get French fans in South Korea. You know,
That's true.
It's just, there's not a whole lot of Overwatch fans here from France.
Gotta say, the envious fans, when it comes to global fans, is certainly the 3-2-1 count in English is just makes me smile. That's the first time in any esport in Korea that's been done in English, which was a nice call out last time we saw envious, but
also, I believe sung Happy Birthday in English as well.
Effect, which is amusing in its own way, given that Effect, obviously, quite minimum on his English so far.
I was excited as well. It was my birthday the same day. Felt like I got a Happy Birthday song.
It can always be about you, Atlas. They're cheering for us. The Lunatic-Hai fans are just excited to see you, Atlas.
I knew you were going to go to that.
So now we're seeing Rogue on defense opening up very aggressively. They're going to look to camp this most advanced building that is just before the choke point here. They do have the Sombra on defense. They want to take the hacked health pack and potentially just surprise Lunatic-Hai, who are coming in with very much a standard 2-2-2 dive comp from Season 2.
I like it. The defensive flank option here is soon. Oh, he's immediately able to pick off Jaehong on the backside. A good start already. Gets himself some cheeky hacks. Is already up to 20%. Is answered by Eska. But that is more picks now for Rogue to start things off.
Eska's got 2, but we can see this fight is being fought on 2 sides.
Possibly the wrong front here, though, as Rogue pressing forward so aggressively. Zumba forced up onto the high ground here and does at least have that bionic grenade to keep him healthy.
Eska got a couple of picks in the front line. Basically, one way to answer such an aggressive hold is to try and backdoor onto the point and thus force them to come back, but wasn't able to complete that. Finally, though, they do back away, as you can see.
Once again, the flank, but Jaehong's going to survive this time. It's going to mean that Soon has to snap himself back with that recall.
Jaehong's on Ana, wants to stay way out of the action. Lunatic-Hai have a position on the point, already 1 tick.
Yeah, already got in here. Bionic grenade just to keep Jaehong alive.
Nice sleep dart.
Oh, I feel like you almost don't need to say it because you just know that he's going to hit those, Papa Smithy. Pulse Bomb not going to find anyone here, and that's going to be Who Are You taking down Unko quite handily.
Yeah, Lunatic-Hai, Zunba doing his bit. Jaehong exposed on the Zenyatta, instantly swapping onto Ana, and Rogue had to back away. You can't persist with that aggressive of a defense unless you're willing to go full spawn camp, like Envious pre-Season 1 did on King's Row famously, and Lunatic-Hai looking for the snowball capture.
Hack's going to come in.
Yeah, the EMP is actually stopping him from using the Nano Blade, so that's
and he's taken down immediately.
Yeah, Nano Boost wasted and no Nano Blade possible. Really good EMP timing from Soon.
Stunning.
Miro's had enough.
Yeah.
He's accepted his fate.
He wanted some peanut butter. Thought there was some down the cliff.
So Soon opened up on the aggressive Sombra on defense. He's jumping on Tracer now. So Rogue, it's great to see they are varying both game plan and their hero choices.
Yeah, the triple DPS defense out of Rogue with a couple of ultimates available at the moment.
But no Nano Blade, so very long way away. So let's see if
do they
want to go for an eco push here and just, well, they've killed AKM, so maybe that game plan's out of the window.
Yeah, at least for the moment. A sound barrier comes out for Lunatic-Hai. Nico's going to be slept and taken down by Zumba there as well.
Solo dive onto Jaehong never works. He always hits that sleep dart.
Well, Nox is doing the very best that he can, but Who Are You throws out the Dragon Blade once again. Look at how close to the spawn he is. And it's Lunatic-Hai already taking position on this point, trying to claim the second one here and end this extraordinarily quickly. 5 minutes still on the clock as Who Are You goes down very low, but does survive. Nox answers, but Toby's able to take him out, making that a 1-for-1. AKM's back, trying to get some kills. Still 25% away from that tack visor.
Yeah, both Genji's getting pretty low value Dragon Blades. Huryu got chunked out and thus had to leave the point. Winston on the point was basically dead, so had to leave as well. So no ability to actually get multiple members on the point, so no percentage capture here. So at least from a Rogue perspective, they can regroup.
Well, they'll have quad ultimates very, very soon as AKM and Wins both charging up. Attack Visor with the nano boost will be available.
First pick onto AKM led to the first pick. Trade of kills. Both Tracers go down.
Yeah, Bionic Grenade does fly out onto Nox. Has to get himself out of there in case he was picked. When you're playing this single tank, it's so important to keep that front line alive. As Miro, he's going to dive in onto the point. Hanging out on the roof here as he jumps down onto AKM, but he's taking so much damage. Attack Visor now available for AKM. We'll see when he decides to throw it down, but right now it's good defensive positioning as Huayu's going to get slept off the back end. And that's going to be the Attack Visor thrown out with that nano boost. But Lunatic-Hai say, well, see you later. We'll do our best to get the heck out of here, and with 2 picks now down, they're just going to regroup.
But after the sleep dart went down, was it necessary to invest both the nano boost and the Attack Visor? Because already we saw Lunatic-Hai were leaving the point, so double ultimate investment, probably unnecessary. Great to see Unko hitting the sleep dart there. Yep. Notable that he's not on the Zenyatta. It was teams forcing him onto things like Mercy, where Rogue first looked weak and vulnerable in this tournament, so hitting that sleep dart probably did a world of good for his confidence.
Well, we'll see whether he can keep it up here because they have to hold for another 3.5 minutes. Nico does have that Dragon Blade still available.
Where's the
Rage
nano
is there
boost?
as well. And you're right, only 40% on that particular ability. Dragon Blade does come in and he gets the first pick. The reset onto Esker, and he's still trying to cut them down. Sound Barrier is doing a great job to try and stop him, but he isn't going to get taken, and soon's going to be able to take down that mech. That is so important to stop the defense from Lunatic-Hai. An extra couple of kills, so Rogue once again staving off Lunatic-Hai.
And I want to mention that is a successful Dragon Blade. They took out a support ultimate off the point and also got a pick. So the fact that he wasn't getting multiple kills was not the objective. Many times you pop that Dragon Blade just to pick up support ultimates and slow down a potential push from Lunatic-Hai.
Well, they're diving very, very far in, and Rogue are actually going to be able to get 3 kills once again, stopping Lunatic-Hai from regathering themselves. That is huge.
So triple DPS finally being run from Rogue. We already mentioned during the pre-game that they've largely been playing standard 2-2-2 with Nico on the Diva. Finally, as Genji's showing some good stripes, and Lunatic-Hai have adjusted. Zunba's going to be jumping on the Roadhog. One of the big criticisms for Lunatic-Hai, and that was admittedly in Season 2 where they went on to be champions, so how big a criticism can it be, was their lack of Roadhog player, and it is Zunba flexing onto it this time.
See whether this is going to be a little bit more successful.
Sleep dart hits onto AKM.
Not going to be too much gain from it just yet, as Lunatic-Hai is able to then finally grab a couple of kills, but they've invested a lot of ultimates into it. Transcendence comes out to try and defend, but Wins maybe a little bit late on that one, as Nox is still going to die. And Wins is going to lose his life as well. Lunatic-Hai pack onto the point. Are they going to get the respawns out in time, though? This is so close, and it's looking like it is. So Lunatic-Hai take the second point and make it very difficult now for Rogue to stay alive.
Big plays from the supports. Predictably, another long-range sleep dart from Jaehong. Catches AKM with a great position, trying to watch the camp. But of course, jumped in, instantly killed a support and also AKM. And then on the point, Toby gatekeeping with the boop, which actually killed AKM embarrassingly, but more importantly, kept them from the reinforcements from getting on to contest. So decent time bank without being overwhelming for Lunatic-Hai, and see a bit of sideways glances from Rogue. They still have a chance. A minute 39 is a small time bank. We have seen, what was it, 6-minute 40 time banks on Hanamura this season. So again, not out of the realm of possibility. Rogue showed us a cool strategy with a very aggressive defense with the Sombra. Let's see what their attack strategy is, because they're going to need to show us something special.
They certainly are. Lunatic-Hai did a fantastic job capping that first point very, very quickly. So Rogue's defense was admirable. And with that time bank of only 140, like you mentioned, I mean, this is nothing that's insurmountable, but they still need to cap the second point. Lunatic-Hai just need to try and turtle up as best they can. We know that their counter dive, incredibly good. Do they have anything else planned here for defense on Hanamura? We'll see whether something new is going to fly through. Jaehong once again on the Ana.
And their scouting, of course, is very easy. You know, they have a very good idea of what they expect Rogue to be running on the map. Everyone right now, at least, and of course still plenty of time, 25 seconds, is on their standard meta picks. We'll see if Rogue do change things up, but so far this tournament the answer's been no.
Yeah.
Plenty of fans here, and some interested fans also watching on to see if Lunatic-Hai can finally push on.
Interestingly enough, Papa Smithy, who has flexed onto the Tracer? It's going to be Eska picking up the
What a
Assault
day
this
for
time
him.
around. Yeah.
Ana and Tracer added to his hero pool.
And his Ana look good, Papa Smithy?
Opening from Rogue is their very standard triple DPS they made their name with.
They are going to just steamroll this point up to the left side. Take to the high ground, but they really only have eyes for getting towards the point very, very early on.
Yeah, they want to dive a single person. So far, great kite back from Lunatic-Hai, so no one's been caught out yet.
You going very aggressive, and that dash is going to get him back there. AKM's going to be slept on the back end. How does Jaehyung hit these? Right through. Soon dancing around, but Eska's
Mira's
not gonna be
really
bothered.
low. Mira does die first. That's their only tank next to the Diva down.
It's only going to be Unko traded as well, as Lunatic-Hai do make it a 2-for-1.
They have the advantage of terrain. No Reinhardt shield, of course. No Reinhardt played at all in this map, so only the play around terrain when you've got no Winston to potentially counter dive. So success from Lunatic-Hai. First push not successful.
Yeah, Nico wants to throw out that reflect.
The Nico push though, all three of the DPS at 75% charge or more.
Yeah, Wynn's almost having that sound barrier here as well on the side of Rogue.
Nice
So
double
doing
from Who Are You?
Yeah, wow, big pop. Lunatic-Hai, yeah, okay. Rogue just going to throw themselves into reset mode. And Who Are You? Showing off, showing his flexibility.
Everyone's spinning.
Anya.
Lunatic-Hai players spinning around in celebration. Rogue fans spinning around. When it comes to damage control, it'll be very interesting in retrospect to talk about Rogue's impact on this tournament, given they might go out in groups but still shape it with their innovation with triple DPS.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a story of the group draw being pretty difficult when you're talking about Rogue's chances.
Thanks, OGN.
Not how that works. The stick's going to come in. That's the double kill from Soon onto Jaehyung and Eska. This could be the opportunity. They throw down the sound barrier trying to consolidate this, but Unko still falls. They do gain some control. First tick's going to come in. Lunatic-Hai will see whether they want to invest into trying to hold on to this one, but I don't think it's a great idea as Who Are You's going to fall. Nico grabs Miro at the same time, and Rogue are going to be able to grab this, and they didn't even need to use all of the ultimates that they had saved up.
But Lunatic-Hai coming back in means they're going to be at least a little bit slower to get the formation on the second point. Triple DPS diving in with two big ultimates. Might be a factor, but Nox dying first is actually a big point to talk about. Jaehyung getting in with the biotic grenade off screen. They're going to have to wait for the Winston, so the instant attempt at capturing the second point will not happen. All about the time bank now. Lunatic-Hai with a pretty conservative 1 minute 39 in the bank. Rogue do have 4 ultimates and soon to be 5 with the pulse bomb. Let's see if they can work out a way to actually get a massive advantage time bank-wise.
Fire grenade onto Nico. He does have to be quite careful. Can't actually use that Dragon Blade just yet, but now see whether he is able to throw that one through, get something started. But look at this, Lunatic-Hai, 6 ultimates on the board versus the 5 of Rogue.
And now it's all about bluffing. Who can draw ults out of the opponent without giving things up? There's the first ult.
Yeah, Primal Rage comes out as well, but there's the tack visor. Lunatic-Hai pick up 3 very, very early on. But does have the self-destruct. Not going to need it just yet. They have just pushed Rogue back, buying themselves ever more time. So 4.5 minutes. Rogue still with plenty of opportunities to try and get this one done, but not a lot of ults remaining on the side of Lunatic-Hai.
Yeah, you don't feel bad if you're Rogue. They didn't invest when they had already seen 2 come through. Nano Visor, Primal Rage, all down. Pulse Bomb as well, but that's obviously only worth a half mention. Rogue used nothing and is still waiting on their sound barrier.
Who's going to win the Tracer battle?
All this means more kiting back, more time being wasted by Lunatic-Hai.
Yeah, getting these single picks is just really, really important. You never want to invest into a 5 versus 6, especially when you've got so many resources that Rogue really want to hold on to. So the more time they can grab, the more important it's going to be.
And it feels like this is the moment. You know, maybe we eulogized them too early, but this push, you know, the moment they invest ultimates, they probably will not have a better shot. This is for their spot in the tournament, Rogue. We're waiting for them to look for a spot, a single pick, and I think they'll really invest.
Well, Lunatic-Hai have thrown down the sound barrier to try and stave them off. Nico's Dragon Blade is there, but with this extra shielding, it's so hard to get anything done. There's the answering sound barriers. The self-destruct is going to come in, not going to find any kills. As Zumba can now get straight back into the mech and does so successfully. Nico picks up that kill onto Toby. But is it going to be enough to try and snowball this one through? I just don't know whether it is. The Tac Visor comes in from AKM, but he runs away immediately.
Yeah, the nano boost onto the Primal Rage stopped
but
him.
Rogue, look at all of these kills. Toby has gone back to the main, so you know that there is some desperation here for trying to hold on to this point.
That's a Tac Visor, but it's gone down, has Eska.
Yep, Toby in trouble. So many kills
But
coming
it's
in.
one for ones.
Yeah, they just don't have enough left to try and hold on to this point.
That means the crowd dies down, the action dies down, and on the face of it, Rogue, with 6 ultimates available, were not able to pick up the capture, not even more than just a single tick onto point B here.
Oh, there's a Helix Rocket. Nico not able to reflect that one as soon. Oh, there it is. Eska grabs a couple of DPS on the side of Rogue, and that's going to buy some more precious seconds for Lunatic-Hai. Rogue's chances slipping by.
And you see they're making swaps. You know, Nico's jumped off the Genjis onto the D.Va now, but that's only going to be space control or a shutdown job at most.
Yeah, self-destruct also can do some work on Hanamura and catch people unawares.
And if you eco push here, you're going to get an overtime cap at best, which gives Lunatic-Hai free opportunity to get a single tick onto point A on their attack and win the map.
And they did the attack on the first point so incredibly effortlessly. First time they saw them. We're going to try and get this done as quickly as they can, but you can see now we're ticking to that time bank of Lunatic-Hai, and we are going to be over it. It's going to happen this second.
The Road needs something, you know? You need an ultimate, you need a game changer.
Well, exactly.
They don't have a Roadhog to get a quick pick. They don't have a McCree to get a double headshot, so they kind of need ultimates to make this comp work. That's how it works when you have a very standard 2-2-2. Not even a dive from Rogue as well. Transcendence is used off-screen by Unko.
Yeah, actually, right there on the high ground, but it looked like it was more just to try and keep himself alive. Not exactly coordinated, but Rogue are able to grab a bunch of kills.
That's 2.
Yeah. Ryu and Zumba and his mech both going to be taken down. Rogue keep themselves alive. There it is. They're doing so much work here. We're very close to that full cap. Yeah. Oh my god, Rogue, can they actually do it? At least Lunatic-Hai are holding on for the moment, but AKM on this high ground, it's like fish in a barrel. Gets one with his Tac Visor. It's worn off now, but he's still able to get the work done. Miro has the use of the Transcendence, but that's going to wear off. Can they actually get this one done? We're down to 30 seconds.
1 for 1 at this point. Now it's a 2 for 1 though, but remember the respawns are still pretty timely.
Yeah. See, Jaehong, he's the one on Mei duty now, buying as much time as he can, throws down that wall, and once again, he's going to be okay, but Lunatic-Hai still under the full assault of AKM, who's getting so much work done. Self-destruct isn't going to be able to get the kill into him as Miro's trying to deal with this soldier and does so effectively. Very, very close to getting taken down as Eska doing what he can to get rid of Unko. That's going to be the kill. And oh my god, it was so close for Rogue. But 3 seconds now on the clock. They've lost 2. Lunatic-Hai still losing more, but oh my... It's just
going to
not
be turned
enough.
around. Lunatic-Hai's getting these respawns, and here's Mei.
Sitting on that point, Jaehong, it's more of a celebratory move as the overtime ticks down. They are capped once again, and that is going to be the kill onto Soon. Rogue, everyone trying to run back, but they can't do it, and that's going to be that. Lunatic-Hai with the 3-0, sending Rogue home this early in the tournament, Papa Smithy.
And commiserations to Rogue, who really did shake up the Korean meta. Gone was just the standard dive and the triple tank. During the break, just a couple of weeks between Season 2 and Season 3, all the Korean teams scrimmed with triple DPS. We saw so many teams opening with it in the first weeks of this tournament. Some soft counters have come through, but triple DPS is still one of the dominant strategies here in Korea. And we know Rogue can play that, but our question every time out was, what can they flex? What can they show? And they showed some things, but if you think about it, it was very much late in this match. It was in this attack phase on Hollywood, the second map. It was their aggressive defense on point A of Hanamura, where again they were already down 2-0. So Rogue, still some smiles between these players. They are still a very important team, but they will not be a team pushing forward in this tournament, and Lunatic-Hai will be leaving Group A in first place.
Yes, with that 3-0, that means that it's impossible for Kongdu Panthera to get a scoreline more impressive than that. if they get a 3-0 themselves over Mighty AOD. So congratulations. First seed from this group could be very important moving into the round of 8. You can only go against second-seeded teams.
And the scary thing about future opponents of Lunatic-Hai is how much new things they showed. Who are you? Genji and D.Va basically only. Genji only last season showed a little bit of D.Va, suddenly playing Ana, suddenly playing more and more heroes. The Tracer even
Tracer was fantastic.
Pretty good on Hanamura. Jae-Hong, Pocket Widowmaker. Well, he's got good tracking, so why not bring out the headshots on the Widowmaker? And that's the thing, is you always thought in Season 2 you could very easily prepare for Lunatic-Hai, and I guess the same fashion that you could say about Rogue in Season 3.
Yeah.
But Lunatic-Hai would beat you at their game. They'd force you on their level. Now Lunatic-Hai is also showing new stuff, and that makes them an even more fierce proposition.
We are going to have a look at the play of the game. It's going to be Who Are You?
Jumping on Tracer.
A little bit more of a celebration of the fact that he's just looking fantastic on the Tracer. This
Where's
was his
that pulse
double
bomb?
kill. Oh,
That feel when the Zenyatta walks into the Soldier.
pretty difficult, you know, to move that quickly as a Zenyatta. You don't necessarily have all of the mobility. But I think that's a celebration of the flexibility of Who Are You as well. I mean, we toted him as the Genji player, you know? But
Flexibility
you don't have the Genji
was
player
the
anymore.
last part of the puzzle for Lunatic-Hai, already champions of Season 2. So great to see them moving forward, showing new stuff. And Rogue fans, Baguette's definitely going to be on the table.
Yeah.
It's sad to see them out this early, so now Envious, the only hopes of the West, now that we only have 2 Western teams in the tournament. Again, Rogue's contribution will always be in the history books. They innovated the meta in a way that will shape it moving forward. We're still seeing teams try cool stuff to try and deal with triple DPS, but when push came to shove, it felt the Korean teams took the learnings from triple DPS, learned new counter strategies, and Rogue wasn't ready to deal with those.
Yeah, it's just the adaptation from Lunatic-Hai this series was extraordinarily impressive, and it was going to be the question that we had for both of these teams. Lunatic-Hai were a little bit stubborn in their first series of Apex Season 3 against Kongdu Panthera, but this time it was all sorts of flexibility. It was all sorts of hero picks. It was everything from the champions, and this is what we expect from the team that came first, Season 2, and it's fantastic to see them looking good, but it's so disappointing to see Rogue going home, a team with so much hype.